Just figured, you know what, I might not know as much as everyone else in the industry, but I'm gonna treat it like a deployment. So if I just throw everything at the wall and give it everything I have, I'm just leave it all on the field, so to speak, and see what happens. And I'm really happy that the results have been good.
Welcome to Unlocking Real Estate, My First Commission, where we dive into real stories, big wins, and early lessons learned from highly successful rookie real estate agents and brokers. This is the series where we explore how real estate transforms lives, one home at a time, by sitting down each week with a new agent or broker who has found incredible success in their first year. Your hosts are instructors and leaders at Colibri Real Estate School, one of the largest real estate educators in the nation, where we focus on helping people like you get started or find continued success in their careers.
Welcome to Unlocking Real Estate, My First Commission. My name's Tina Latt. I am proud to be here with you today. I have been in real estate education for over 30 years, and I've been licensed in real estate for more than 25. I'm head of operations for Colibri Real Estate, and I work with aspiring real estate agents every day. I'm here with Andrew. Andrew, will you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Tina. Yes, I'm Andrew Robinson, and I lead product for Colibri Real Estate.
David, welcome. Congratulations on being recognized as an RISMedia Rookie of the Year finalist. Will you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and where you're from, where you live.
Sure. Thank you for the invitation. And I grew up in Toronto, Ontario, in Canada, actually. So that was home for many years until I was a teenager, and then we moved north to the country and lived near the lake. And then many years later, made my way down to Maine, which has a lot of similar characteristics to that part of Canada. And my wife is from this area as well. And so Maine and the US are home, and I'm really happy to be here and join you on this podcast.
That's wonderful. And where are you currently working as a real estate agent?
Yeah, I'm working with Tim Dunham Realty in Topsom, Maine. So it's pretty centrally located. Between Portland and Augusta, and kind of halfway between the mid-coast and the western mountains. It's a really great area. I thoroughly enjoy it.
Sounds beautiful. And so you've had a very exciting journey at the beginning of your real estate career. Let's start at the beginning. Like, what were you doing before you became a real estate agent?
Sure. Yeah, it's actually not that long ago, but it feels like an eternity ago. So before joining real estate, I was working for the Royal Canadian Navy, and I was a sailor and sailed all over the world. In 2018, I deployed to the Middle East, North Africa, and Europe. And then we found out we were having twin boys, and we decided we needed to move a little closer to family, and that's what we did. So we moved down to the US, we moved closer to my wife's side of the family. And then to answer your question, what was I doing in 2013? I was changing a lot of diapers, and that was my full-time job. And so I decided that real estate was an opportunity and a career that I wanted to pursue. And Tim was a really big part of that. He's been a family friend for many, many years and really helped me get this going. So that's kind of what I was doing. I was kind of in the middle of careers and looking for something new, and this caught my attention and just decided to go for it.
And can you talk a little bit more about that? Like, why did real estate catch your attention?
Yeah, well, it caught my attention because I was interested in it myself, and then also because I had a great mentor. This is probably going to be a bit of a circular theme throughout our conversation, but Tim really took me from a place where I didn't have a lot of that understanding and helped me get a career up and going in an incredibly short period of time. I think I also enjoyed it because, or I thought I would enjoy it because it would take a lot of the strengths and the training that I had in the military to adapt and overcome, which is necessary in this industry, and to problem solve and just figure out figure out a way forward when there doesn't seem to be one. And so I just figured, you know what, I might not know as much as everyone else in the industry, but I'm gonna treat it like a deployment. So if I just throw everything at the wall and give it everything I have, I'm just leave it all on the field, so to speak, and see what happens. And I'm really happy that the results have been good.
That's great. Can you talk a little bit about a specific moment or a person, I think we know the person at this point, that influenced your decision?
Sure. Yeah, so aside from Tim, my wife has been extremely supportive. She was really, really supportive of me giving this career try, and which I'm very thankful for, because it wasn't really easy. Where there was a lot of external components in life taking place while we did all this. And so to actually back the story up a little bit, I got my work visa for the US in January of 2023, and I started the real estate course in March of 2023. And then I started into it full time, everything in April, green card in May. So through that whole process, she's been extremely supportive, and I really wouldn't be able to do it without her help.
That is beautiful and such an exciting story.
How did you choose what school you went to?
So there are limited options in Maine. There's a couple. I just chose one that had a hybrid system of in-class and online. And the reason for that is I wanted to meet other new licensees. I needed the accountability of a teacher there telling me, hey, this assignment is due. And online, like if it was purely online at that stage of my life, I would have just fallen asleep. I was just so fatigued. I needed to know that, hey, I need to be in a class at a specific time. And that level of stress actually was a motivator, and it worked out really well for me.
What else have you done to educate yourself? Like you obviously are continuing to learn and made that an important aspect of your career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like to surround myself with people that know a lot more than me, and I just ask them questions until they're annoyed. And so brokers that have been doing it for 20 or 30 years, or maybe some, like we have really a fantastic gal that does a lot of our staging. Like, I just want to know about staging. Like, I don't know anything about staging. I lived on a ship. It was not all about how things looked, you know? So now I'm trying to reorient myself to how does this help bring up home value? And maybe this thing isn't as important. So I think it's just about surrounding yourself with smart people that know more than you, and realizing that they know more than you and being willing to tap into that. Like I don't know everything.
Nor do I,
Yeah.
sadly.
Well, find me the broker that does, and they're hired.
Yeah, right.
Right. That is such an amazing story, David.
So you're there at home changing diapers. The work visa comes in. Tim's in your ear saying, "Hey, man, you should get in real estate."
Yeah.
What were your expectations when you got started?
So my expectation, I kind of gave myself what I thought was a very high bar to achieve. Keep in mind, so this is what was happening is I was taking my two boys for a nap drive in the back of the car while I'm studying my real estate book. And then I'll pull over to a gas station, study a little bit more. They start waking up. All right, time to drive to the next one. So that's the background. And then we get into the course itself, and there's exams, and usually I'm fairly anxious and worried about that. I was just too fatigued to really care, which is good. The answers came, and I did a really good job there. But the goal that I gave myself was 12 closings in the first month with 6 reviews. So I wanted to do 12.
Like going from, sorry to interrupt,
No.
going from like 0 to 12 in 1 month.
No, sorry. I wanted to go from, I misspoke, 0 to 12 from April to the following December. So that 8 months, 8 or 9 month period. That was the goal I set. And I wanted 6 reviews to sort of bolster myself as someone that was competent. And then what happened was I just went crazy, maybe a little bit too crazy, and then closed 23 and got 12 reviews by December.
That's impressive. So you said things got crazy. So your expectations were, I'm going to push real hard and I'm going to get 12 deals, and it turns out you doubled that basically.
Right.
Like what happened there, and how was that?
Yeah, it felt amazing, but I think I was too exhausted to really realize it. The first year, so that first April to following December, I was driving somewhere between 1,000 to 1,200 miles a week. And I look back at it and I thought I was doing 70 or 80 hours a week, but my wife's like, no, you're doing a lot more than that. So I would finish up, usually at the office, probably somewhere around 10 or 11, and then get home and then start showings, the next morning at 8. And Maine is very rural too, so it's not like an urban center where you have a bunch of homes in a small area. Every home, there could be an hour between the drive. So, it was an adjustment.
Can you share any memorable experiences from that?
Oh, for sure.
That first 8 months?
Yeah, so I have these wonderful clients, and they're still fantastic clients, and I'm sure they wouldn't mind me sharing this at all. So he's a retired homicide detective out of Texas. I didn't realize it out of the time, and they purchased this home. They were going to fix it up and make it something beautiful, and after we closed on the home, they started doing some earthwork and taking off the shed taking off the deck. And we knew that the sellers had gone through a very messy divorce. It was not a good situation. And underneath the deck, there's a headstone that says husband. And I'm like, I don't know if it's a joke. I don't just walk away. But there's funny things like that, and just a pile of nerves going to my first closing. What do I need to do? Who do I need to bring earnest money to? How is this all going to happen? What's the difference between the pre-qual and the pre-approval? And how does the underwriter work? And how's my appraisal? All of that. And but that's definitely one story that kind of sticks out to me, and I'm sure there's many more if I gave it some more thought.
No, I appreciate that. That's a great story. So you're juggling twin boys, you're working 100 plus hours a week. Besides that, were there any other big challenges you faced in your first year?
No, there weren't. Well, yeah, there was challenges. I mean, just trying to learn what I'm doing and be competent at it. So I really plugged into the distribution channels and the vendors that we already had set up. And I would make time, if it wasn't every couple weeks, at least once a month, to get together for coffee with lenders and learn about everything. I really wanted to know how the proverbial sausage was made. So I just said, teach me everything. If I'm a lender and you bring me a file, what do I need to know? And that's really helped. And then appraisers, getting to know them, trying to figure out what are they looking for on these homes, because a lot of these homes are very rural, and some of the clientele may be doing FHA or USDA, and we need to try and close this on an RD loan. What do we need to do to make that happen? So those are sort of the extracurriculars. And then on top of that, I didn't need to do continuing education because I was a sales agent. I didn't have the associate broker license yet. I decided, though, it would still be beneficial to do that. So I did a lot of continuing education to try and bring myself up to speed and in anticipation of the next level.
And then you said you had Tim in your corner, and you mentioned being concerned about your first close. Was he there with you on a daily basis, a weekly basis? What did that relationship look like?
Yeah, so Tim took me under his wing in an amazing way that is just unheard of for a designated broker, and I'm truly grateful to him for that. I would go to his house sometimes. We would be doing CMAs till 11:30, out on his patio. So he would walk me through how do we do a CMA and what's the difference between the CMAs and the AVMs. And he's also on the policy and procedure board for the main listings. So, okay, if I get this listing in, how long do I have before I can get the sign out of the house? Or, just trying to make sure that all the I's were dotted, all the T's were crossed, all the PNSs were clean, they were looking good. And he would review, I think he reviewed like the first 90 that I wrote just to make sure everything was really good. And honestly, without his help, I wouldn't be successful. That's just the reality.
That's amazing. So wonderful to have such an incredible mentor that took you under their wing and, like you said, just dug into every area surrounding the real estate transaction. With that, other than Tim and having that mentorship, what strategies or tactics did you use to achieve success so early in your career?
So a couple things. I would follow up, always, and quickly. So return voicemails within 20 minutes or less, emails within an hour or less. And if it didn't matter if I was driving, I'd pull over, would just respond. Even if it's a quick, I'm just walking into a meeting, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I just never wanted someone to feel that it was going unheard or unanswered. And then the other thing I did is I created some emails that would get sent out to my clients, and these weren't you wouldn't read this email and just think it's copy and paste. It was very personalized to them, but I just wanted to be in front of mind and always in front of them, because sometimes their life would change and their search would stop, or they're not going to list right now, but maybe they are, and give them time. So, and the other thing too is I'm not a pushy person. I really don't like people pushing me. I'm not a salesperson. It's not my culture. That's just not who I am. And I just treated people the way how I wanted to be treated. And I think homes sell themselves, and my job is to be a professional and guide them through that process, not to sell a home necessarily. If they want a home, they'll buy a home. I just need to be there to help facilitate that.
Yeah, I love those comments, David. And, Canadians do have a reputation for being quite kind. I'm sure you've heard that before.
That and my accent. For some reason, everyone says, "Are you from the Northwest?" Or I'm like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm going to say things wrong. You're going to have to ask me to say it twice, but I'll try my best.
That's great. So, can you share a story about an interaction with a client that just stands out to you, that was maybe really meaningful?
Yeah, I think, it's actually one that was recent. It was this year, and it was a client that honestly I didn't think was going to be able to close for a number of reasons, financially, and I think just the work it takes to get pre-qualified sometimes is overwhelming to buyers. And so I just thought, well, maybe I just knew that she needed a place. She was between places. She was being evicted out of an apartment, and she needed to go somewhere. So to make a long story short, definitely dug into that transaction substantially more and gave it a little bit more oomph, so to speak. And I'm really happy that we were able to close. We got her in the right lender, and we got the right program, and we got the right grants in place through Main State Housing and a few other things. And now she is the proud owner of a home in Central Maine. I'm really happy for her.
That is awesome. It's what it's all about, for sure. So, starting out as a new agent, obviously you need to establish yourself and some credibility. How do you market yourself as a new agent? Did you use certain channels or techniques that just seemed to be really effective for you?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things was I used a lot of those vendors that we had in place, which was fantastic. We also have a really, really good reputation in the local market. I think we do like over 100 million as a team in the local market annually in terms of transactions. And so I was able to leverage that and leverage that reputation. And then on top of that, I just worked hard to know everything that I possibly could. I mean, once the exams were done and once the licensing was done and once I had all of that, the book wasn't closed. That was more the beginning. I just wanted to know all the nuances between the different types of deeds and the quitclaim or quitclaim with covenants and warranty deeds, and what does that mean and what are the differences and what does it mean to my clients? Because I didn't want them to feel that just because I was maybe new to the industry that there was a lack of confidence. And so I really worked hard to overcome that and any anxiety they had regarding that.
Yeah, it really sounds like you took the time to educate yourself, and that is paramount, and it's paid off, obviously. So where do you see yourself in 5 years? Are you going to stay in real estate? Where do you see your career going?
I certainly hope so. My intention is to make this a lifelong career. I enjoy it. I enjoy my colleagues. I enjoy the work environment. I enjoy the flexibility of going all over Maine. I mean, yesterday I was, from Sebago Lake to the western Maine Mountains up through the border of New Hampshire, and I just couldn't imagine another career that I have that flexibility. So I absolutely want to see myself continue. I have some professional goals that I've set for myself. So this spring I've done the coursing, but I'll be applying for the associate broker license, and then in a couple of years go for the broker license after that. And then I've got some market value goals that I'm setting for myself and transaction numbers that I would like to achieve, and I'd like to be in the local market for the next 40 years. Maybe you can come interview me back when I'm 75 or something.
You know what? I'm going to plan on that. That is awesome. This was you then, and this is you now. I have no doubt you're going to achieve that. So, David, any tips or tricks you'd like to share with an aspiring real estate agent, someone who's considering this as a career?
Yeah, number one, you need a mentor. You need a mentor. This is not the Wild West where you can figure it out, but you're gonna be pretty bruised up if you don't have someone that knows the road and can guide you there. That's absolutely invaluable. You need that. And the second thing is just don't give up. You have to work hard. We're not doing this isn't like a celebrity show where you get your license and then the next day you just get these crazy checks. It is absolutely not like that at all, especially not in Maine where homes, the average might be 400,000. It could take you a while to be able to get there. So you have to be able to have a little bit of stamina to get yourself there.
Let's have some fun here.
Sure.
I'd love to get to know you a little bit more. We're going to jump into a lightning round.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you a question to try and understand who David is a little bit deeper. I'm going to provide you 60 seconds or less to give an answer to each one of these. Ready to roll?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So what's one book you've read that you'd recommend for the audience?
Is this related specifically to real estate?
Nope. Doesn't need to be.
Oh, I read a lot, especially before having kids, and then since having kids, it's taken a back seat. There's a couple, but they're older ones. They're more classical books. So like Plato's Republic. I really enjoy Plato's Republic. Probably things from that era, which may bore most, but excite me.
That's fabulous. If we had a time machine and you could go back to the day you started this journey, what advice would you give yourself? What might you do differently?
It'll be okay. I would tell myself it's going to be okay. And what would I do differently? I don't think I don't think I would do anything differently. I'm a big believer in you make the best decision you can with the information you have in front of you. And so I didn't have today's information in front of me at that time, and I didn't have today's experience with me. So I think I made the best decision I could have. I think the only thing that if I could go back and change a little bit is I worked so hard and so much to get this up and going that I did miss out on some of those key moments of life with the little ones, and I would have probably changed that. But I don't try and live in the past because it's a lesson I'll take forward, but I don't regret what I did.
Yeah. And what a fabulous role model you are for your children, too. Like, just, it
Thank you.
melts my heart. If you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Okay, so this is going to come out of left field here. It's going to probably, but Thomas Aquinas. I think I'd like to have dinner with Thomas Aquinas. That guy was brilliant, you know, for the period he lived, and like, be hard to find someone who can hold a candle to his intellect. I'd really like to have dinner with him. And you were asking, what was the other question? Why?
Yeah, why?
Why?
Or maybe a question you might ask him.
Oh, I don't know what question I'd have. I just ask him to tell me his whole life story, and I just sit there and gobble it up.
That's wonderful. So going back to real estate now,
Sure.
what'd you do at work yesterday?
So actually, yesterday my wife was out of town. She was visiting family in Pennsylvania. So it was just me, and I had my boys. They're now 2.5, and we went and showed 3 homes together. So we got in the car in the morning, and we drove all over Maine, and we showed three really nice homes from Sebago Lake all the way up to Bethel. And hopefully they did a good job and sold it for me.
I love it. But it is an example of the flexibility of real estate. And you got to spend some time with your boys as well, which is pretty awesome.
No, it's absolutely great. And yeah, I'm teaching them young.
That's right. And you're giving them some nice experiences and adventures, it sounds like.
Exactly.
That's great. So David, if individuals, viewers want to follow your journey, connect with you, can you give us an idea of how they might be able to keep tabs on what you're doing? I think you're a phenomenal inspiration for a lot of individuals.
Well, thank you very much. It's kind of you to say. So the website, Tim Dunham Realty, I'm listed there. That's a really easy way to get in touch with me. Also on Facebook, so David Super - Tim Dunham Realty. You can shoot me a message or email me, david@dunhamrealty.com, and I will try and get back to you within an hour.
Thanks for tuning in to Unlocking Real Estate, My First Commission. We hope today's stories and insights inspired you to take that next step in your real estate journey. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode, or head over to our channel to see some of the other content we've produced. We'd also love to hear from you. Drop a comment below with your biggest takeaway or a question for our next guest. If you have a recommendation for someone we should interview, please send a note to UnlockingRealEstate@ColibriRealEstate.com.